So just begin by lying on your back. You could bend your knees if you wanted to, it's up to you. So bring the right hand to your heart and let the left hand rest on top of the right hand. And we're just going to take some nice deep breaths into the heart center here. Bring both hands next to your body. Scoot the shoulder girdle down. Draw your chin into your throat for just a moment. And then release it back, just restoring the neutrality of the neck spine. And take some nice, good, deep breaths here. Maybe you'll start to direct the breath a little bit lower in the belly. Start to bend the knees if you haven't already. And then just walk your feet a little bit wider on the mat. And then just start to rock the knees slowly from side to side. Then bring the knees back to the center and draw the knees to the chest, but keep them kind of gently drawing away from each other so you can feel a flattening out of that low back. And then just do a little bit of rocking here side to side. Breathe into the low back. So the emphasis here really is on the hip socket, even though you're getting probably a nice, good little bit of tenderizing of the low back. But I want you to feel the sensation of the hip flexors. So you're gently drawing the knees away, but as you rock towards one side, you draw the knee in closer. Just see if you can create sensation in the hips, hip socket, hip flexors actually. Draw the knees back to the center and half happy baby. So you're holding on behind the knees, flex the feet. And if rocking feels good, you could rock here as well. So a real good active dorsiflexion here, just so that you're starting to wake up the meridians of the legs. And you're getting a gentle inversion right here. And then bring the knees back to the center. Draw the knees together. Set the feet down. Roll over to the left side. Bend your right knee. Take hold of the foot. Now, try to move. You're creating this posterior tilt. So you're going to try to move your hips forward. So it's more about where you're moving your pelvis and less about trying to get your foot to your glute, even though you are trying to do that. But if you emphasize the movement of the pelvis, that's going to increase the intensity of the stretch. And release. Roll through the center, take yourself over to the right side, same thing on the right side. So try to gaze forward, not down at your knees. Try to maintain as much, just as much of an alignment of the body. It's almost as if you were standing. It's that same kind of alignment, but keep trying to move the pelvis forward. Just getting that posterior tilt of the pelvis. Gazing forward. Release. Come back to the center. So now grab your pillow and bring the pillow between your inner knees. Just warming up we're going to warm up a lot of things right here. So you're drawing the knees towards each other, and you can create, I have a sort of more decorative size pillow, and I'm going to put it on the wider setting just so I get a little bit more feedback, a little bit more activation of the adductors. So the feet are on the floor, and you're just going to slowly draw the knees in and release. Draw the knees in towards each other and release. Use the exhale when you draw the knees in. And inhale is the release. Now layer in every time you exhale and draw the knees in, you begin to activate the pelvic floor. So begin to activate the muscles you would use to restrict your inflow. Try not to activate the glutes. Just let the pelvic floor turn on. And let the action of adduction here help that activate that. The adductors are really an extension of the pelvic floor. So it's going to be allowed here for a few seconds because it's garbage pickup day, so the noise will hopefully pass quickly. Your exhale, drawing the knees in, working that pelvic floor. Now, try not to grip in the hip flexors, and that has more to do with the hip flexors' tendencies to want to flex. You've got to concentrate on not letting the front of the hips do the action. The inner thighs are doing the action and the activation of your pelvic floor. The next time you exhale and draw your knees in, hold it here, and then lift your hips up. So you're going to squeeze everything, including the glutes, and inhale, come down. Exhale, squeeze the pillow, activate the pelvic floor, activate the glutes, and inhale down. Exhale, squeeze to lift up. And inhale down. Exhale, squeeze. Make sure you're drawing the belly in. You're not pushing the belly out. Exhale. This time we come up, we stay up. And then just little pulses with the knees in. Try to stay active in the pelvic floor. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then again, recommit now. Heels, really stomp in the heels a little bit more for this next sequence. Pelvic floor is engaged. You feel the adductors drawn in. Glutes are working. They're not taking over, but they're active. And then just little pulses. 8, 7, 6. Relax your jaw. 4, 3. And last one, roll the hips and pelvis down. Nice and slow. Take that pillow out lift your hips and pelvis up and slide the pillow to your low back. And then just take a moment here to lift the legs up. So a good dorsiflexion again. Flex your feet. It's like you're trying to reach your heels to the ceiling. Trying to activate the meridians of the legs. Try not to let the front of the legs activate too much, or the front of the hips, I mean. Just reaching, just introducing this concept of, so not only are you getting a little bit of a setu bandha, you're getting a little gentle bit of decompression in the lower lumbar, but this is about introducing the concept of length to the backs of the legs, a little bit of an inversion, and preparing the legs to be in this, in a bit of an extension here. We're gonna deepen this in a few moments. Maybe move your feet around. Flex and point. Just wake up the ankles if you've been. I've been walking a lot, trying to get 10,000 steps a day, and I really notice the difference in my feet. I have to pay a little bit more attention to my feet. But the upside of that is that my body is feeling so much better because I'm not driving so bloody much. Now from here we release, we set the feet down, knees are bent, lift your hips and pelvis up, slide the pillow out, come down slowly, one bone at a time. Hope you can see me. Okay, so from here, we're gonna take the left leg, draw the left leg up, again, just a little flexion. I'm gonna bend my knee here. So this has more to do with just the lifting of the leg. I'm not going for a stretch necessarily. If this doesn't feel good, bend the knee even more. I just want the leg up. Now you're gonna take the right leg and move it up, and you could keep a bend in the knee by all means. And if you feel like going for full extension, go for it. But notice that I'm not working an extreme here. I've got these legs kind of in more seemingly neutral positions, but it's allowing me, the placement of where I have my legs is allowing me to imprint the low back down on the mat. Now bring your hands behind your head. You're going to draw your elbows in. Try not to let the arms lift the head. Really think about activating the core and lift up. So you feel the core turn on. Or certainly the abdominals, okay? Now keep lifting, lifting, lifting. Rotate your torso to the left and reach the left arm out to the side. Hold, hold, hold. So we did this last week. It's the subtler, kind of smaller bit of work that prepares certainly the abdominals and a good bit of the core for bigger work later on. Bring the hand back to the head. Take your right arm and reach your right arm up and over. Try not to let that right hip lift up. Just stay engaged as much as you can in the abdominals. If you need to take a break, take a break. Now you're going to bring your right hand behind your head. Bring the torso back to the center. Switch sides. Rotate your torso to the right. Lift the upper body a little bit higher. Reach the right arm out to the right. Try not to strain in the neck. Your hands really just sort of cradling the head and neck. It's not doing the work. You want the core to do the work. The right hand comes back in, the left arm reaches. Rotate that torso even more without that left hip lifting. Breathe through this. Lift a little higher. Bring the left hand behind the head. Rotate back to the center. Draw both knees into the chest. Whatever you need to do here. So if that was a little bit of strain on the neck, oscillate your head and neck side to side. And then we bring the knees back to the center. So crossing at the ankles, holding on behind the knees. If you feel like rolling a few times up and down, get a little massage on the back, you can. If that doesn't feel good, maybe you just roll up once. It's up to you. It's whatever feels right. So I'm going to use my blanket for the next sequence, just so that I have a little bit of support under my knees. So feel free to use that if you need that, okay? So we're coming onto a quadruped, and bring your knees onto the blanket. So your hands and your knees are actually going to be closer together than maybe you normally would, like if you were doing cat-cow. And I want you to just take a moment here and kind of puff up the upper back. So create a little bit of protraction in the space between the shoulder blades, and then pack the shoulder girdle down, right? So that it's tempting in this to have the shoulders creep up. So when I say pack the shoulder girdle down, I'm asking for this action, depression in the shoulder girdle. So now I'm going to draw the heels of the hands to the knees and the knees to the heels of my hands, and that's just going to create a bit of activation of the abdominals. Trying to get a little bit behind the rectus abdominis, trying to get a little bit into the transverse abdominals. Hold it here. Start to activate your pelvic floor. Remember, it's all of this sort of the finessing, this sort of it's intense, but it's a little bit more subtle. And then we release. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders, a little bit of cat-cow here, rinse it out. Reconnect with your breath here. You should be now fully in Ujjayi breath, but if you feel compelled, especially when we're in more isolated core work, if you feel compelled to exhale through the mouth, trust that, take that. Now bring yourself back to more neutral placement. The hand, the left hand is coming forward. The left knee is going to align itself with the left hand. Open up the right leg. So my left hand, my left knee, and my right foot are all on the same plane. I don't care what you do with your left foot. You know, swivel it, make it more like a kickstand so that you have balance and you have access. So then we reach the right arm up and exhale, rainbow, reach it over. So now bring your awareness to the side body, obliques, even intercostals here, and breathe into the side body. Feel that expansion here, almost like the gills of a fish. And create, again, a little bit more of that, the posterior tilt, right? I don't want to draw it back. I want to move it a little bit forward here. Now exhale, reach the right arm up to the ceiling. So you've got a nice stack in the shoulders, and lift the right leg. Reach the right heel away. So we're balancing here. We're trying to recruit some stabilizers here, kind of more obscure muscles of the core. But reach it, you're going to feel certainly, you're going to feel the glute med turn on maybe. Try not to dump all of the weight into the left wrist. Try to find a little bit more equanimity in terms of balance. And then exhale the leg down and the arm back down to rainbow. Moving the hip, the pelvis a little bit forward. Exhale, return to all fours. So maybe you'll notice a difference here, a little bit more length. Now you're going to swivel your hips to the left, and then you're going to reach your upper body around to the left, like you're trying to get your ear to your left hip. So just another opportunity to get length in that right side body. And then come back to the center. Second side, right hand, right knee. So I want that alignment. I don't care what the right foot does, just as long as it's contributing to your stability. And then the left leg out. So again, I want this nice stack, and I want to pay attention. Even though this is a supported Vashisthasana and Vashi is wrist, I don't want to be dumping into the wrist. I want to find a way to maybe to sort of share the load a little bit more on the lower body. So I want this nice stack, this nice balance. Maybe roll a little bit to the outside of that left foot, create that movement in the pelvis forward, left arm up, and then reach it over into rainbow. Breathe into the side body. And I don't care where you look here. You could look down, you could look straight ahead, you could look up. Exhale, reach the left arm up, lift the left leg up, flex the foot. Your next exhale, left foot down, left arm up and over, returning to that length, pelvis forward. Waiting for your next natural exhale, and that brings you back to all fours. Now I'm going to shift my hips to the right and try to get my ear to listen to my right hip. Feel that length in the left side body. Use the left hand. Use that. Just get some leverage there and see if that can contribute. Then exhale back to the center of cat-cow. Rinse it out. So as you inhale into cow, find yourself maybe contributing to a little bit more release in the pelvic floor with the sits bones open and wide. And then when you exhale, start to activate the pelvic floor. Let that begin the articulation up into cat. Coax the chin towards your throat. Feel that belly come in and inhale. So now start to attend to that, to the eloquence or to that articulation in between these 2 points, so that it's a gradual release, gradual engagement. And bringing yourself back to a nice neutral place here. So let's come up, standing on your knees, and we'll bring the left leg forward. Just bring the left leg forward. So my hips and pelvis are square. You're going to sickle the back foot, just sort of sickle it a little bit, and then move your hips forward. Then I'm going to take my left hand forward, my right hand come and just pull the fingers down and keep trying to move my hips and pelvis forward. Switch hands. Keep breathing. So it's the same action of moving my pelvis forward. Hopefully you're feeling this in the front of your hips. And then release your hands. Bring your hands down. Lift your back leg up. The left hip draws back, right hip forward. Activate, especially the glutes on the right side. Just feel that kind of wrapping in. A little firming of the tummy here. And then swivel yourself to your right. So now you're in the center. Your feet are a little bit angled out in horse stance, and just shift side to side. So I'm not asking you to go all the way down. I mean, the hips go as low as you feel comfortable bringing them down, but I want you to keep your heels down. So we're just sort of moving through skater or skandasana here. So notice how we're really kind of focused on this pelvic hip, gluteal region, part of the core today. And then shift yourself over to the right side. The left knee comes down on your blanket if you're using a blanket. So my hips are forward. So that might mean a shift here to set it up. Right hip a little bit back, left hip a little bit forward, sickle that back foot. This is somatic work. This is very subtle work. So now I take the right hand. So I really want to flex the hand. I want to reach the heel of the hand forward. And the left hand comes and pulls the fingertips down as I keep trying to move my hips forward. Breathe here. Now switch hands. And release the hands down. Lift the back leg up. So remember, right hip will be a little bit back and the left hip forward. You're just doing that to create balance in the pelvis. Firm up. So the left side of the gluteal body is going to wrap into the midline here. And then swivel yourself to the center, to the left, and back to skandasana. Maybe this time you start to go a little bit deeper. But notice that I'm keeping my hands and my upper body stable in the center. I'm not skittering from side to side. And then slowly bringing yourself back to the center. So now a little bit of prasarita, which means I'm a little bit pigeon-toed. And the idea is just the edge of my foot would be in line with the edge of the mat. And just give yourself a good stretch here. Now start to release the upper body up. Walk back over to, I'm going to move to my left. If you want to move to your right, that's okay. And you're just going to bring yourself back down onto all fours. Back down into all fours. And again, keep the blanket underneath the knees if you feel like you need that support. Now, you're going to come onto your left forearm. The left forearm comes down on the mat. The elbow is underneath the shoulder and the wrist extends out from the elbow. So you have a nice alignment there. The right arm is going to stay in this extension. I'm not going to bend it or come onto the forearm. Now take the right leg back and then drop the right hip. Activate the glutes on the right side and lift that right leg. Draw the belly in and then little lifts of the right leg. 8, 7, belly strong. Now, take that right leg over to the right, slight bend, and then take the right leg all the way over to the left and tap it down. Just waking up the gluteal body here, all the way to the right, slight bend, all the way over to the left. 2 more. And 1 more. And then bring that knee down. So you come up onto the left hand, the right forearm comes down. Left arm is going to stay pretty much in a full extension. Take the left leg back. Now drop the left hip so that you've got the hips as balanced as you can. Firm up the belly, lift the left leg, reach that heel back and lift it. 8, belly strong. 4, 3. Now take the left leg all the way over to the left, slight bend in the knee, like it's like an attitude, and take the left leg all the way over, tap it on the floor to the right, all the way to the left. Inhale the knee forward, exhale it all the way over to the right. 1 more, inhale it and exhale, and then bring the left knee in. Get your knees wide, your feet together, and relax back in the wild child. Switch a little bit in the hips if you need to, side to side. Hands draw underneath the shoulders, come up nice and slow. Walk the knees in. So I think I'm just going to have you bring your left leg forward. I want you to end up facing me and lift up, take the blanket away, and then come back into this prasarita stretch so that you're facing me. You can see me. So I have this nice just slight pigeon toe here. Maybe a little bit more skandasana here, just see where you are with it. So, earn this right here. Don't just push through it. No stone unturned. Really come into it so that you have sort of awakened the hips properly. And then we come back to the center. Coming back to the center. So you've got your feet in, your back, you're still in prasarita. Now you've got a nice good flat back here. You're going to soften your knees, bring your right hand to your waist, left hand to your waist. Strong belly, slowly come up. As you come up, drop your chin to your chest, okay? So just so that you're not dizzy. It's like the yoga teachers sort of Achilles heel. We're always doing that, standing up, talking, and demonstrating, and then the room spins. Okay, so now I'm going to pivot open my left foot. I don't care about the alignment, heel to arch. I want you to feel balanced here. My left foot has a nice angle. Again, I want you to feel balanced. So I'm not going to say heel to heel, 45, 40. That's not, this should be organic. This should make sense to your body. So now I want you to activate the glutes on the left side. I want you to just start playing around with bending the right knee, or the left knee, because I'm mirroring you. But as you do this, make sure that that knee is tracking really more to the outside so that I'm not letting that knee collapse in. But every time I go down, I'm nice and strong in the glutes on this right side. And the next time the knee comes down, stay down. Float your arms up, shoulder girdle down. Turn your gaze and look beyond that left middle finger here. But keep drawing the shoulder girdle down. Play around with rolling to the outside of that right foot, that stabilizing foot. Just play around with that. Activating the glutes, feel that belly gently draw in. Inhale, fully extend the front leg, arms lift up overhead. Pivot that left foot in, open up the right. Exhale, bend the knee. So I know that you know how to do Warrior Two, but my whole approach in it, in terms of the core, is that we move into it more organically, but you start to really attend to or really utilize your core anchors in this pose. So it's easy for this to be just about indulging the quads. But if I'm perhaps rolling to the outside of that stabilizing foot, that left foot, and feel the left side of the gluteal body wrap in, and notice that I'm able to keep drawing this right knee into this proper alignment. The arms reach out and the shoulder girdle is depressed. It's pressing down and gazing just beyond your right middle finger. Keep reaching this opposite side back. So if you were just looking at me, in the center here, you wouldn't necessarily know the pose because I'm not leaning into it. You're seeking equanimity. And the only way I can create the physical equanimity is if I'm utilizing the core anchors of this pose. Inhale, both arms up. Pivot that right foot in. Now exhale, arms up overhead. Bring your heels in and come on down. We're going to shift a little bit here, side to side. Feeling the hips move, you might ground a little bit more in the heels. Make sure you're not pushing that belly out. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Fully extend the legs, turn on the glutes, hands come to prayer. Move through or just kind of flowing through goddess and temple. Inhale it up and exhale. Inhale, squeeze the heels together. Activate the glutes. Exhale, press the palms together. Strong belly, open up those knees. Inhale, one more. And exhale, bring it down and hold the prayer at your heart. Shift again a little bit here, side to side. And then strong back and belly, come down. Pivot your heels out, back to Prasarita. Take your right hand and bring your right hand underneath your face. So I want to extend out from the crown of the head. Take your left hand and bring it to your sacrum, to your low back. So the hips want to shift a little bit here, but don't let that shift happen. So I want to maintain stability. So lots of length here. This is an open belly twist. So then I start to reach the arm up, the left arm up. The hips want to shift with me, but I'm not letting that happen. If it's comfortable to gaze up at your left hand, do so. Make sure that the hips aren't shifting to the left. Keep pressing the shoulders away from the ears. Inhale at the top of this exhale, bring this left hand down to trade places with the right hand. So again, I want to recommit. I want to grow from the tailbone to the crown of the head. Peel this right arm up without my hips shifting. Keep pressing the shoulders away from the ears. Inhale here, exhale, bring it down. And just ragdoll, just flop a little bit here, whatever you need. So if the neck has got a little cranky in that, you could just bring your elbows in and stretch it out. And then bringing the hands down. So let's pivot over to your right side. And then just step that front leg back into down dog. And walk it out. Exhale, find yourself coming into plank. And your next exhale, the knees come down. Now I'm going to press the shoulder girdle down, and I want to get neutral in the space between the shoulder blades, right? I'm not retracting or protracting. I'm trying to stabilize there. Keep that humor head, the front of your shoulders, keep them in line as you strong belly, lower down to the floor. Press into the tops of the feet, come up. So these humeral heads, you want to make sure that they want to curl in towards the floor. Keep them moving away. Keep them moving away from the floor as you come up. Pressing into the tops of the feet. Don't let the feet lift. Root the pubis bone down, wrapping the gluteal body in. So the gluteal muscles are rolling in towards the center or the butt crack, so that you're not just clenching, you're actually wrapping them. And notice if you can here, sort of lift the belly away a little bit. That might limit this pose, but that's okay. And then we curl the toes underneath. The elbows stay in pretty close. Keep pressing the shoulders down. Think about stabilizing in the shoulder girdle. And remember those shoulders, they're not going to roll in. These humeral heads are rolling away. And then press up, 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 back to plank. Down dog. So whatever your down dog needs to be here, maybe you're still pedaling it out, maybe you feel more comfortable just holding it in stillness. It's just, what does your body need right here? Let's begin here by lifting now the right leg up. So you can start in balance, and you could stack the hips, whatever feels right. Bring the right knee to the right wrist. Walk the left leg back. So you've got a blanket, you've got a pillow. Where do you need the support here? Where do you need it? So I want you to really inhabit this pose here, because we've done a lot of work in this region. Walk that left leg further away, and then a little bit more away, and then bring yourself down into your sleeping swan or lazy pigeon or whatever you want to call it. Bring your awareness back to that Ujjayi breath. Emphasize the exhale. Let that contribute to down regulation, perhaps any stress that you might be holding in the hips. Let the exhale help you just sort of melt that stress away. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Lift that upper body up. Move around in this a little bit. Just really work out any last little bit of kinks. If you've got a blanket under the hips, shift it over to the other side. And then draw yourself back to down dog. Go right into that right leg, or you can come to all fours. Either way, I want you to move that leg around. I want you to just move it around so that your hip is just getting, you're just helping the body just to integrate that stretch and that activation. Setting it down. So you can, if you're in down dog, lift the left leg up. You could do it from all fours. Start in balance, stack if you'd like, whatever feels right. Take that left knee to the left wrist. Walk the right leg back. Walk the foot up if you want. Think organic. Think what's feeling good in the hips here. So really pay attention. There's a lot of, you're getting a lot of feedback in this. Again, if you want the blanket under the left hip, if you want the pillow for your head, take that right leg, walk it a little further back, and then a little bit more. Then bring yourself down. You're in this for a minute. Feel the back toes underneath, come back up. So whatever transition you did on the first side, work it on the second side. Just make sure you're moving that left leg around. I want that hip. You just helping that hip integrate. Okay, so if you're in down dog, come down to all fours, and then we're going to come to sit on the mat, facing me. So you're opening up your legs here. You've got a nice, just as we move through this, you're going to figure out the sort of width and how much extension you want. You can bring the legs in closer for more intensity. If it's just too much gripping in the hips, walk the legs further away. So we're going to start by bringing the hands behind. Try not to collapse into this. Sit up nice and tall and start to rock your knees from side to side. Just getting into those hips. So notice how my feet, notice how wide my feet are. Connie, make sure your feet are really wide. As wide as you can get them. Then rock. There you go. Okay. Now, if you wanted to, you could start playing around with doing this without using your hands. And when you're transitioning the knees, activate abdominals, because that's what you're doing here. It's a little bit of this neuroactive. You know, the body, a lot of times what happens is the hip flexors are doing the job of when the abdominals should be working. So just trying to kind of reverse that role a little bit here and attend to it, pay attention to it. And then bring the knees back to the center. Now, soles of the feet together, knees out to the side, coming into a Baddha Konasana. If you sit on the maybe a little bit of lift here, just a little bit of height, and the pelvis will help you. It's up to you. You can also roll it from it. So we start with the feet in. So you have the few options here. You can interlace the fingers over the toes. You could bring the thumbs underneath the mound of the foot and open the foot into prayer book. Not forcing. Now the forearms can come down, and more than I don't want you to think about slamming them down. I want them to steer the ship a little bit. This is, and I want them, I want your elbows here, if they do anything, is they contribute to the balance of this pose. So I'm way more flexible on my left side. So when I use this sort of my arms here is I encourage my right hip a little bit more and ease up a little bit on my left so that I'm trying to create balance in this pose. So I don't want to collapse the chin in front of the throat. I want to keep that airway open. Let the shoulders relax down. Just breathe in. You can deepen this and contribute to the release of this by releasing in the pelvic floor. So those muscles you would use to restrict urine flow, let them soften, let them relax. Now ease yourself up. Ease yourself up. Take a moment here and just sort of hold on to the knees. Restore the radiance of your spine. And then start to scoot the feet out further in front of you. We're coming into more of a soft diamond. So before my heels were moving closer to my pelvis, now I'm moving the feet much further away. You're going to take your right arm and your right hand comes from the inside of your leg and wrap that right hand around and let it just tap the top of your right foot. Take your left hand, right? So I want this right hand to come from the inside.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then the left hand is above. There's that sort of fleshy part of the knee. That's actually a nice, that's a nice artery. That's a nice meridian right there. So I want to press that arm down, fully extend as much as I can this left arm. Get long in the spine. If it's comfortable, look up at the ceiling. You could also look down. But what I want you to feel now, the intensity of this, it should be that sort of left flank of your body. I'm trying to hit the QLs here. So I want length. I don't want tension in the shoulders and as much extension. So the intensity of this is coming from the leverage in this left hand and in this left arm. Inhale, slowly release. Just take a moment here. Take the left arm, reach it from the inside. Left hand taps the top of that left foot. So think about the tailbone and reach the crown of the head out so that you're tall. Remember, we always want length before we twist. Take this right hand, again, that fleshy part, let the heel of the hand sort of press into it in a way. And again, wherever you want to look, but now bring the awareness to that right flank. Breathe into it. The QLs are hard to get at. I mean, you can sort of palpitate, you can get in there, but this is a really effective way to get in there. QLs are a huge part of the core, and they end up being, in many respects, the heavy lifters when they shouldn't be. Maintain that length as you slowly release. Come up. And again, just take a moment here, holding on to the knees. Feel this lift, feel this extension. Sort of holding on to the inner knees. Just extend the legs out into Upavista, into wide angle. So I want a good active dorsiflexion here. Feeling the grounding down, feeling the pressing of the bones into the mat. There's a tendency to roll in, let them roll out. You can even sort of assist by kind of getting the thumbs to the inside of that the femur heads and pressing them down in a way, just getting this nice length here. Now slide this left arm up, reach the right arm up, over, Making sure that right hip wants to peel up, but we're grounding down. The right shoulder wants to collapse forward. Keep trying to just maintain that stack, going back to that length in the side body here. Maintain that length. Inhale, come up through the center. Slide this right arm down. Again, just mentally note that you are really pressing down in this left hip. As you bring the left arm up and over, reach it over, the hips, the shoulders want to stack, that top shoulder wants to collapse, keep the stack here. Inhale, reach up. Now, actually, manually bring the legs in. Help them in. Help them in, because I want you to maintain the softness, especially in the groins. If you're still on the pillow and you want to stay on it, or the blanket, that's cool. So you're going to bring your feet together, flex your feet, bring your hands together into Dandasana. So I want you to focus, though, emphasize the rolling of the inner legs towards each other. Just using this as a counter pose, that's all. So not only are you focusing on that adduction, but really think about the radiance of your spine. This is such a simple pose, but it's a gorgeous pose. It's a gorgeous postural strengthening pose. And then release, relax. Take that pillow or blanket, bring the legs around, come onto your back. So the feet are in line with the knees in line with the hip points, the hip bones. And press into the heels, lift your hips up, slide the hands underneath. Let's create some pretty deep external rotation here. So I'm trying to stretch the knees away so that I'm creating some length here. Press the forearms down. Try not to push the belly up. Keep extending the exhale here. This is a vulnerable pose, and the nervous system always wants to have a bit of reaction to it, but you just override that by extending the exhale. It's a really lovely way to communicate with the body that this pose and the vulnerability of this pose is okay. Then release the arms, untuck the shoulders, come down ever so slowly. We're going to twist to the left, yogi's choice. What do you feel like doing? So sometimes after this work, we've just done the QL work, so maybe you feel like you've got some juice and you want to go deep into it. If you feel like you've done enough, you could just let both knees fall to the left. But take a moment and decide what suits you. But I want you twisting to the left first, just working with the descending forward. I don't care where you look. Just as long as you're breathing, breathe. Think about breathing into that low back. Release the knees. Release this pose slowly, which is, it's important after, just because we've done a lot of low back stuff here. Okay, so second side, what do you need? Yogi's choice, what suits you, what serves you? Roll the knees slowly back to the center. So instead of happy baby, I want you to come into the Supta Baddha Konasana for just a moment. Soles of the feet together, knees out to the side, arms up overhead. I want you to use this pose to restore the spine back to its radiance. So you'll feel the little curve behind the neck. This gives you that proper curve in that lower lumbar. Just take a few moments to do it. You're just giving the spine the experience of radiance. Now notice if you can maintain that radiance and start to extend the legs out. You've got a pillow, you've got a blanket, you want a soft pillow, feel free to use that. But otherwise, come into your Shavasana and take up space. Let the legs be a little wider than you normally would. Let the arms be a little bit wider. Make sure the shoulder girdle is pressing down and away. Eyes are closed. And feel yourself just shift into your Shavasana. So let a breath bring you back. Let a deeper, more conscious breath bring you a little bit further back. Slowly start to move fingers and toes. Making your way over to your right or left side. Come into fetal pose. And just stay there for a few moments. Press into the top hand. Come up really slowly. Bring yourself up to your cross-legged seated Sukhasana. So just take a moment here. Bring one hand to the low belly, maybe the right hand to the low belly and the left hand on top. Just take a moment. Take a good couple breaths into this low belly. Just ground yourself, breathing into these lower chakras. I think that's so important right now. Just be grounded. Breathe into that space. And from here, we draw the hands to the heart, coming into this mudra of gratitude. So we just take this moment to bless our health, our strength, our ability to do this work, and it's here we bow. Namaste.
Okay.
Nice work.
Thank you.
Nice work. Good. I hope it wasn't too loud. I tried to film outside today, and of course it's birds and my kids back.
Bother me.
I know.
Garbage trucks, maybe.
Okay. I'll see you next week. Take care.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.